evening. It's 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday, December 11th. I'll call to order this regular meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls City School District Board of Education. Ms. Coco, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Harris?
Here.
Ms. Schaefer?
Here.
Ms. White?
Here.
Ms. Coco here. Mr. Gomez?
Here. Thank you. Item B is approval of the agenda. Number 1 is motion to approve the agenda. It's recommended the Board of Education approves the agenda of the December 11th, 2024 Board of Education meeting. Action by the Board of Education and adoption of a consent agenda means that all items are adopted by one singular motion unless a member of the Board of Education, Treasurer, or Superintendent requests that any such item be removed from the consent agenda and voted upon separately.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Ms. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco? Aye. Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Thank you. Item C is our opening ceremony. Number 1 is our informational items. This meeting is a meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business. It's not a public community meeting, although there are opportunities for public participation. If an individual wishes to address the board regarding a topic found on the meeting agenda, the individual must complete a registration form found inside the attendance notebook and present it to the treasurer. Following the introduction of the topic by the board president, followed by board discussion, the individual will be recognized. If an individual wishes to address the board regarding a topic not found on the meeting agenda, they must notify the superintendent and/or board president of the topic no later than 3 business days in advance of the meeting. These individuals may share their comments during the board business portion of the agenda. In both cases, the individual will preface comments by announcement of their name and address and limit comments to 3 minutes. All statements should be directed to the board president. No person may address or question board members individually. In addition, in public session, the board will not hear complaints about school personnel nor against any person connected with the school system. An unabridged board agenda for this meeting can be found on your electronic device at the address shown on the screen. And for your convenience, hard copies of the board agenda may be found on the table by the sign-in book. The annual organizational meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education is January 8th, 2025 at 5:15 p.m. right here in the Cuyahoga Falls High School Library. And the next regularly scheduled meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education is January 8th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. here in the Cuyahoga Falls High School Library. Now for our Pledge of Allegiance, and welcome Mr. Harris.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome. Our vision, Cuyahoga Falls City School District, the hub of our community, committed to a culture of caring. We innovate, we create, we personalize education for all. Our mission, every student, every day, every opportunity. The board's strategic plan goals are as follows. School safety. We aspire to have a welcoming environment that ensures that the physical and social well-being needs of every student and staff member are met. Academic growth. We aspire to have significant growth through personalized education for all students. We aspire to improve graduation rates so that our students are prepared for employment, enrollment, or enlistment. Engagement, inclusion, and diversity. We will ensure that every student has access to resources they need when they need it in order to be successful. Technology systems and integration. We aspire to create safe, secure, and efficient technology systems to support high-quality teaching, learning, and district operation.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Brings us to item D, presentations. Our first presentation tonight is on athletic facilities, and we're very fortunate to have our superintendent of Parks and Recreation for the city of Cuyahoga Falls, Ms. Sarah Klein, with us here tonight, and she's going to come up and present at the microphone. As I think many of us know, we have a really unique partnership here in the city of Cuyahoga Falls, where the Parks and Recreation Department takes on so much of what many other school districts have to provide for themselves. And we're just so thankful for that, and we're thankful for that continued partnership and everything that the Parks Department does for us. And thank you for taking the time to be with us here tonight.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here tonight, and thank you for accommodating my schedule this evening. I appreciate that greatly. I do want to recognize that Marie Rourke is here. She is your appointee to the Park Board from the City School District, so I'm glad to have her in attendance with me tonight. I do have some handouts that I've provided for you with some information specifically related to tennis. I am happy, Mr. Gomez, to dive into that, or if you want to have conversations about other athletic facilities, or I can answer questions. However you would like me to proceed, I'm more than willing to do that.
If you just want to talk about your recommendation for tennis, I think we're ready to receive your recommendation.
Sure. So obviously, there has been a lot of uncertainty with the new school and sort of how the tennis courts will be handled. Our recommendation is that pending your approval and agreement, we would like to have you carve out the tennis courts from this property, have that become part of our park system, and resurface and reconstruct where needed the tennis courts that are here. We have examined some other sites around the city. I will say some of the benefits of this area is the infrastructure is in place, lights, things like that. We would have ample parking at the natatorium and City Hall complex, depending on how this area evolves over the years. It also is the most cost-effective option. And geographically, it maintains a little bit more balance from our perspective. The other courts in the city are at Kennedy, Kaiser, and Woodridge High School complex. And so this at least sort of is a little more central and maintains access to courts in a more balanced way across the community. So in summary, that would be our recommendation. And happy to, I know we'll have further conversations about this, but as you consider coming months and your plans for this property, that would be our hope and our recommendation.
I think that, your point about balance is something that I don't think we had considered, but that's a really good point. And one that definitely, that on our side that we had not had discussions about. That's a really, really good point, and thank you for bringing that up. And I think we've had time to consider this information, and I think, to speak for the board, because that's sometimes my job as the president, but we're at a meeting so everyone else can speak, but I think for the most part, we're in agreement. One, we don't want to waste money on another building things that already exist. You know, we have the 6 courts that are needed for competitive high school tennis, and that is the key. It's the last piece that we have to figure out as we are looking to vacate this property as we go to the new building. Tennis has kind of been this thing that we've been struggling with for quite some time. So
Sure.
again, we're so thankful that you've been working with us on this because it's been this problem that we've been trying to solve. So we're so thankful that you're helping us solve it.
Well, and, you know, candidly, I think we've been struggling on our end too. I think this has been a full partnership, and I anticipate it'll continue to be a full partnership in not only tennis, but other sports too. But it has been something we've been struggling with, and I know that we are as eager to resolve this in a permanent fashion and move forward as well, so that we can not only budget it, but provide as good of an experience as possible for the student athletes and, of course, our community members that use our facilities as well.
Any other thoughts on tennis board members?
I had a thought too, and it just kind of dawned on me when you said become part of the park system and like a permanent tennis, so would this kind of like be the permanent tennis courts for like ever and ever for the high school tennis team for like?
I think that would be the intention. I mean, we would probably have to have, as we said, further discussions about what that would look like. But by it being taken over by the city, at least I feel more comfortable that they have control over it as opposed to a new tenant or a new owner that would, we might not have as much.
I
control.
100% agree with that now, and then when you say permanent, I just that see,
Yeah.
you know, it like in the future. Then
Well,
we have so many sites that we have so many.
well, permanent for now, but again,
You
never Yeah.
it's
know.
that idea that it's the decision we need to make now as a board,
Yeah.
you know? And we wouldn't want to, we're not tying the hands of future boards in terms of
Well,
what they
decide what I wanna
decide
make
to
sure
do
we're not
with their
tying-
properties, but,
That's why I make sure it's not tying the hands of future
Yeah.
boards, because you were saying we
Superintendent
have
Klein can't
tennis.
tie the hands of future people that hold her position or, city administrations either, but I think our job is to make the decision for
To
today.
have tennis
Yeah.
stay
it
where
could
it's
be-
at. It is the most cost-effective, I mean,
Yeah.
it really is the most cost-effective decision that we can make.
Yes.
And keep tennis moving forward and have a nice, safe, and, I mean, a nice and safe playing court for,
Yeah.
the students and athletes. I mean, I do agree.
Do you mind if I add something? So it would be our intention that certainly we would have an agreement with the school system that the tennis team, when it is in session or in season, would take priority for scheduling, and that it would not be open for public use only other times. And similar to Woodridge, now that's on it's still campus, and obviously, once the high school moves, it would be different here. But same thing, we are a partner with Woodridge on their tennis courts, and we have a relationship where the public can use them. We've used those courts in the past for activities and programming. But again, the tennis team at Woodridge and their needs is always the first priority. And so from my vantage point, we would certainly expect to enter into some kind of memorandum of understanding or agreement with the school district that would remain the case, even if the property were no longer owned by the school board.
I think pickleball is probably more of a, people are beating down the courts to get to the pickleball courts.
We
the
could
tennis
not
courts.
build enough pickleball courts if we tried. I guarantee it. Indoor, outdoor. We could turn this library into pickleball
I was
courts.
driving my
We'll do it.
76-year-old grandpa drove by my 76-year-old father down by Valley Vista, and he's like, "Are they putting pickleball courts in there?"
Under discussion. Under discussion.
Could you please speak just real quickly on exactly, for those listening and our community members, what all, we have the proposal in front of us, what exactly like repair and resurface and everything entails, and what it would be like on the other side? Because I know that that's a concern that has been voiced in the past in regards to the tennis courts and their current conditions. So-
Sure. Just to be clear, when you say the other side, you mean the other sites that have been examined, like the cost difference?
No, just in this site.
Okay.
If we were to accept this proposal and vote on this proposal, what that would entail on kind of a vision of what those courts would look like on the other side, if
Sure.
that makes sense.
Sure. So essentially, they would look like brand new courts. They would. We have a company that has proprietary technology that we use for all our hard court surfacing. That's who we've consulted with again. They basically would strip it down. We would have an 1.5-inch overlay as well as repairs to any structural needs, restriping, make sure the nets and the fence and all that were up to snuff. You basically would look like a new court without having to grade land, dig foundations, put in fencing, put in lighting, all of those things that you would at other sites. So in essence, I would think that for the users of the courts, once this project was done, it would look and feel very similar as if a brand new court were constructed at a completely new site.
Thank you.
What's the lifespan of this? What is this called? Is this an overlay? Is this?
Right, so this is taking off what we have, filling the cracks, doing any structural repairs, and then an 1.5 inch, what they call overlay, and then final surfacing and painting. Generally speaking, in talking with the company, with maintenance and ongoing repairs as needed, we can expect between 8 to 10 or 11 years. Now, that can be a little shorter, a little longer, depending on use, if we get weird weather, all of those kinds of things. But this would be a pretty long-lasting investment from our perspective.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions on tennis?
And then I'm sorry, these would be like on a regular maintenance inspection schedule, I think, from Parks and Rec.
Correct,
So it wouldn't
correct.
necessarily fall on us to, if there was an issue, we could say, hey, did you notice this? But it would be on a regular schedule with you all, okay?
Correct. The intent from at least my perspective would be that if we move forward, this would be owned by the park system. And it would be our responsibility to maintain just as we maintain other facilities that we own. It would be a little bit of a
Communication problems.
difference from
Yeah.
the other collaborations that we have on sports.
Yeah.
And then the other thing we wanted to ask you about was, how should we get our sports families reach out to us about the facilities that you maintain for us, which we so appreciate. but they'll reach out to us. And then we've never asked you how we should communicate with the Parks and Rec department. And so when we knew you were coming, we were like, this is a great opportunity to say, what is the proper channel to communicate that? When somebody calls me and says, I have a question, complaint, concern
Sure.
about the baseball field.
Sure.
As a board member, because they're my constituent on that side, how should we go about letting the Parks Department, I don't want to say you, because I don't know that necessarily I should call you personally and ask for you or email you personally. That might not be the appropriate way to do that. But we thought we should just ask you, what's the appropriate way to make the Parks Department aware that somebody reached out to us?
Absolutely, and I appreciate that question because ultimately it is a shared constituency
Yes.
between the city and the school district. So I am always happy to take text messages, phone calls, emails. Many of you have my cell phone number. If you don't, please share it amongst yourselves. You can call our office. You can email me. One good thing about having me as the central point person is that then I can relay the message to the appropriate division. So for example, if it's a question about the pools at the natatorium, that's gonna go one place. If it's about the baseball field, that might go a different place. So I'm happy to be that point person. I would also say just generally, we appreciate the opportunity to talk directly to families that have concerns or questions, because often we find it's a matter of information. People maybe don't understand what is a reason behind something. And so we are always happy, Kenny Johnson and I talk regularly, we're always happy to explain this is why X, Y, or Z is happening or not happening, because candidly there's as you all know from your positions, there's always a lot more that goes into a decision than people see on the outside.
Yes.
So I would actually welcome and prefer that we have the opportunity to speak to
Okay.
people.
Awesome. Yeah, we just were like, if she's coming, we need to
Yeah.
just ask
Yeah.
her,
Happy
how
to.
should we communicate with
So
them?
the phone number to the Parks office is 330-971-8225. And my email is super easy, klein@cityofcf.com. It is very easy to figure out our email system at the city, just last name and @cityofcf.com. So true for all of us in the Parks Department, but I'm always happy to take calls, text messages, whatever.
And thank you for letting us have our mascot at the tree lighting.
Yes, I think they had fun. It was so cold. That was the coldest tree lighting
I
we've had
was
to date.
there for the whole thing, and we parked strategically so we could keep running to the car and turning the heat on.
Yes, I think the mascot was happy to have on that warm costume. The person that played Rudolph, I mean, the real Rudolph that was there was very warm because of all of his layers, and Santa was warm with his suit on. So yeah, it was a great night. Thank you for being there.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And if you have any questions or follow-up, please don't hesitate to reach out.
And we really appreciate all that you do for our schools.
Thank you. And again, thank you for changing the schedule to
course.
accommodate me. I appreciate
Anytime.
it. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you. Have a
Thank
good
you so
evening.
much. Have a good one.
Good to see you. And relevant to you, we're voting on Cindy Probonic's retirement tonight. Since I know that you know her, yeah.
Yes, I
So,
saw her being in the meeting,
yeah.
yes. Congratulations.
Should we take a recess for 12 minutes?
I was seeing the margaritas here. Richardson Group, is Marguerite here? I don't see her tonight yet. Neither one are here yet. Okay. That's true.
So we're gonna make a motion to recess for 11 minutes until 6.
Oh, okay.
Is there a second?
I'll
Second.
second. Oh.
Please call the roll.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco? Aye. Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Ms. Schaefer?
Aye.
We're in recess until 6.
Alrighty.
Don't mess up Christie's minutes.
Long time no see.
I know, how have you been? Haven't seen you in a million years.
Keep it any good.
she was probably like, oh my God, get that camera away from me. I
national,
She has the
Christian
yeah, she has-
nationalism myths that they put forward.
Yep.
And it's really good. I just started it.
Really?
And it's pretty
I'll
good
have to,
so
that
far.
one, that's their, I see that as the ultimate plan.
It is. Yeah.
That's why I'm not trying to go. I
Yeah.
think that that's the
I don't think so.
I think they could.
I think.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yeah.
and I think that they're really trying to push that on us.
Yeah, they are. And when I'm done with it, I'll bring it for you if you have time.
What's that?
I'll bring that book.
Oh,
when
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
done,
absolutely.
If you have time.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I
for
don't
sure.
want you to.
No, that's absolutely.
It seems like it's pretty good. And then I got another one by the same people. That is about. Yeah. So I'm gonna read those two, and then I'm gonna go back to my fantasy and read those.
There you go. I know I had to take a break. I was reading what's it called, Magpie Murders right now, I think it's called. Alicia was reading it.
Yeah.
So it's a series of, it's called the Magpie Murders. I
Board
think.
members ready?
Oh, okay. You'll have to let me know.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I know, but I was hoping to do it on here.
Good evening. We're gonna call the meeting back to order, and at this time, I'm gonna call up Dr. Selico for our next two presentations. Dr. Selico.
Oh, there she is. Okay, we were deciding what order we were going to go into, so I see the two people that I need to have for the next presentation are here, so that's good. So, good evening. My name is Andrea Selico. I'm superintendent of schools in my third year here in the district, and happy to be here. Happy to see all of you on this chilly night. We certainly are in the heart of winter. I guess it started. So the first presentation that we're going to have this evening, I don't typically do, but Miss Bogdan, who normally would be introducing this, is out today. We are going to introduce to you what we call our Star Staff Award. So each month we have an award in which our staff members have a chance, any one of us can nominate somebody who is worthy who goes above and beyond and worthy of this recognition. And so tonight we do have someone special with us here this evening. Her name is Marguerite Bittman. Did I say it right? Beitman. Okay, there was a big debate at the table over here on how we should pronounce it. And so we're happy to have her. She is in the food service department at Richardson. So why don't you come forward, and Danielle Turlange, who's going to read a little bit about her. So there you go.
Hello. So Miss Marguerite, as she's known here at Richardson, consistently goes above and beyond to create a positive and welcoming environment in our cafeteria. She always greets students with a smile and nice words and creates just a warm and inviting atmosphere. She knows who her regulars are, and if they've not come through her breakfast or lunch line, she seeks them out to make sure they're fed. The students love going through the cafeteria line for a smile, a wave, or the infamous joke of the day. Marguerite greets staff with the same smile, but on top of that, she is every staff member's cheerleader. And her most said phrase every day is, "You're amazing." I think I've already heard it 3 times today. Marguerite's positive attitude is contagious, and it has a significant impact on the overall school climate. It's not uncommon to walk into the kitchen and hear her and her staff singing, or maybe dancing to some music. Music and laughter are what run the Richardson kitchen. Beyond her friendly and energetic demeanor, Marguerite is constantly thinking of ways to help our students. She'll regularly brainstorm with staff and admin with a, "What do you think about?" And she's always open to feedback and suggestions, and she actively seeks out ways to accommodate all of our students' needs. So here's my knock knock for you. Ready? Knock knock. Who's there? The best cafeteria rock star, because you're amazing.
I just want to thank everybody and know that, like, how truly honored I feel to be here and accepting this award. And thank you guys. Thank you for making me a part of your team.
And stick around because we're going to get your picture after we do our next round of awards, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. I would comment on two things. One, I got to know Marguerite pretty early on. We would talk, we would bond through, well, one, we're both Italian-ish, right? And ish, we talked about. And that we like to talk, that Italians like to eat. And so we were talking, because I passed by the cafeterias right there by Richardson. And then the second thing I want to mention, she is always smiling, and she is always positive and welcoming whenever I know I come into the building. She's a breath of fresh air, and I really appreciate that. So just wanted to echo that, and to also point out that a number of the staff members here are here this evening to support you. So I thought that was very kind as well. So if we could just have a round of applause for that. All right, very good. All right, we ready? You guys have been waiting patiently. Are you eager to start? Boys and girls, are you excited? Yeah? I am too. This is one of my favorite evenings. Except tonight, guess what? There are some hard names to pronounce this evening, so I'm really nervous. And I'm probably going to mess them up, so I'm going to apologize in advance. And for those of you who have difficult names, just so you know, my name often gets mispronounced too, because my name is Andrea, but people like to say Andrea or Andrea. So I'm like, yep, I'm used to it. It's okay. I'm sure that I've heard worse, so it's okay. But I apologize, but you come up here and you say, Dr. Solico, you said my name wrong, and you just tell me what it is, and we'll fix it, okay? Don't worry about telling the boss of the schools that she made a mistake. No pressure. All right. So let's talk a little bit about Top Tiger Awards. How many of you in the audience, parents have had, or guardians had someone before get this award? Okay. So we have some. All right, so you guys can get up here and tell about what it is. I won't do that. All right, so Top Tiger Award, let me just tell you. It's an award given by our Board of Education members to our students from each building each month. And the students are chosen by various staff members in their buildings, and I get the honor of reading about each one of them this evening. So I'm going to ask students that you have to pay particular attention, so make sure you're listening. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call your name. You're going to come through this maze, some of you, and you're going to come forward, and you're going to stand right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to read about you, tell you all the things, whatever your teacher had to write and say about you, I'm going to read. And then we are going to, Miss Stewart is behind me. She's going to take your picture over here. And you're also going to get some goodies from Mrs. White, my helper this evening. Is that all right? And you will also walk away with, ready? Check this out. Woo! That is fancy. Nice. This is compliments of our union presidents here this evening of the Teachers Union, Mrs. Carlisle. They are kind enough to purchase those for our students, so you could put that in your yard or in a window, wherever you want to display it. And so that's just one of the things that you're going to get in addition to some other awards. But this doesn't happen just by chance. We have a number of generous partners who have contributed, as I mentioned, the union, and also our Cuyahoga Falls Schools Foundation and Alumni Association. They are great partners and encourage our students to be the best they can be. And so they have sponsored this and helped us along the way. And we have two folks with us this evening that are going to say a few words. Well, maybe one of them is speaking. Karen Schofield is here this evening from the foundation, as well as Chris Schrader, who is going to, I believe, are you doing the speaking this evening? So come on forward. Thank you. We'll give them a warm welcome.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Schrader. I'm a trustee for the Cuyahoga Falls Schools Foundation and Alumni Association, and also a graduate of Cuyahoga Falls High School back in the dark ages. The Cuyahoga Falls School Foundation and Alumni Association is one of the sponsors of the Top Tiger Award. Each year, we award over $150,000 in student scholarships, award classroom grants to teachers, and help connect alumni by assisting with class reunions and class websites. We also recognize distinguished alumni and host a recognition program and reception each May. All of our top Tigers are invited to march with us in the Memorial Day Parade. So you'll get some information about that later, but that's going to be fun. So tonight, after all the top Tigers have been recognized, you will head over to the cafeteria. You'll have a seat. You'll have a group picture taken. You'll go back and have a seat, and then we'll call you up to get your T-shirt and a folder for the adult that accompanied you tonight. And we are incredibly proud of each and every one of you. So on behalf of the Cuyahoga Falls Schools Foundation and Alumni Association, we congratulate all of our top Tigers on earning this very special recognition. Thank you.
All right, thank you, and thank you to the foundation and Ms. Schrader for all your kind words and encouragement of our students. All right, are we ready? Now are we really ready? I was fooling you earlier. I did a lot of talking. Just making you be in suspense, huh? All right. So our first school we'll start with is DeWitt. And our first student to come forward is Audrey Kirkwood. Audrey? Let's see if you can follow all those directions. All right, so far so good. All right, Audrey. Audrey is an excellent student and a valuable member of our fourth grade community. She consistently and without being asked shows Black Tiger pride. She displays a positive attitude in all classes, is extremely helpful, and a wonderful role model for others. Audrey is a shining example of what it means to be a responsible student. She demonstrates kindness and respect with an unwavering commitment to do the right thing even when no one is looking. That's the best. We are extremely proud of our top Tiger, Audrey Kirkwood. Congratulations. All right, and our second student from DeWitt is Michael Montoni. Hi, Michael. All right. Michael is a shining star in our classroom. His dedication to learning is truly inspiring. He consistently goes above and beyond, always eager to participate and ask questions. Michael is not only a top student, but also a wonderful classmate who is kind, helpful, and always brings a positive attitude to our class. We are so proud of his achievements and look forward to seeing all Michael will accomplish in the future. Way to go, top Tiger. Congratulations. All right, moving along to Lincoln. We have Savannah Dubé. It's like a maze, isn't it? Yeah. All right. Savannah does a great job of showing Black Tiger pride every day. She is an amazing role model for other students and someone we can always count on to be organized, on task, listening, and following directions. She strives to set an example for others by modeling appropriate behavior in every situation and is well liked by her peers. Savannah is always willing to help others and help with any task in the classroom. She works very hard in school, striving to do her best on each assignment or task that is given. She is a young lady with great potential, and we are excited to be able to recognize her as one of our top Tigers. Congratulations. All right. Our next student from Lincoln is Noah Hauser. Noah? There he is. Hi, Noah. Is that your brother over there? He's got a lot to say. I'm not sure what he's saying, but there's a lot to say. How old is he? 3. That's about what I was going to guess. Yep, that's the age. They say terrible 2s, but I think 3s are tougher than 2, at least in my home, right? See? Yep, I got you. Yep. All right. Let's see. Noah. Noah demonstrates Black Tiger pride in all aspects of his day. He has a positive attitude, participates in learning activities, and always strives to do his best work. Noah is not only a leader in the classroom, but also in our community as a member of Cub Scouts. He enjoys being a big brother, I see, and helping others. We are so proud of Noah, and, oh, all right, buddy, what do you want to say? Are you taking over? Okay, all right. We are so proud of Noah and know that we can always count on him to make outstanding choices. Congratulations. Are you going to congratulate your brother? Tell him good job. There you go. All right. He's going to get his picture taken. Yeah. Want to get your picture with him? All right. It's fine. It's all right. He really is doing it. All right. That's awesome. All right. What about me? I'm coming in there. Yep. Nice. Look at the camera. Yeah, all right. We'll give a round of applause for you, too. All right. Fun. He's going to sit in my chair. Go for it. Yeah, I'll give you all those calls that come along every day. I had a few zingers today I'll pass along. Call some people back. Yeah, all right. Okay. I see you. Okay. All right. Our next school that we're going to hear from is Preston. And, oh, someone's excited. I was just kidding. We're going to go to Silver Lake. No, I'm kidding. All right. From Preston, we have Fernanda Lazola Garibaldi. Garibaldi? Did I do well? I got this. All right. I said, did I do well? She goes, no. All right. Oh, my goodness. You said it so much more beautifully than I did. Okay. We're going to leave it at that. Fernanda, though, right? I got that right? All right. It's a beautiful name. Fernanda is a compassionate young lady. She has an amazing positive attitude each and every day. She is thoughtful and always wants to help others succeed. She is dependable and puts a lot of effort into her work. It has been wonderful to see her become such a confident learner. Keep up the great work, Fernanda. Congratulations. All right, and our next student is Matthias Roach. Matthias? Did Mr. Nauman block you there? He is a pretty big guy. Yeah, I know. He's got some muscles over there. All right. All right. Matthias is an extremely responsible young man who tries his very best at everything he does. He is kind and is always wanting to help others because he is someone who truly cares deeply about everyone. Mrs. Miller stated that Matthias has a love for learning, especially in music. Mrs. Probanik says Matthias comes to school each and every day with a smile and he is ready to learn. Matthias is an absolute joy to have in class and Principal Brown totally agrees. Keep up the great work and that you bring great joy to those around you. Congratulations, Matthias. All right. Okay. Next up, we have Price. All right, I got to look at the pronunciation. Aaliyah Chomling? Did I do it right? All right. She's darting in and out. I said it well enough for you to at least know who you were. How did I do? Yes, I got good. All right. All right. Aaliyah is truly a standout student, embodying the values of a top Tiger every day. She approaches her work with dedication, consistently giving her absolute best effort. There you go, sweetie. All right. She's scary, I know. Academically, she performs well and is equally strong in social interactions, actively participating in class discussions and activities. Aaliyah excels in cooperative learning settings, contributing positively and working effectively with her peers. Her kindness, patience, and caring nature make her a friend to all in 4th grade. With her consistently positive attitude, Aaliyah is a model student, and her achievements make everyone very proud. Congratulations. All right, and our second student from Price is Ujwal Dumala. Ujwal is an outstanding 4th grade student who consistently shows exceptional qualities both academically and personally. Ujwal is a kind and compassionate student who always demonstrates respect towards his classmates and teachers. He is a true team player, always willing to help out in the classroom. His positive attitude and willingness help create a welcoming and supportive environment for everyone around him. He has shown improvement in his academic work, and he continues to grow both as a student and as a person. We are incredibly proud of Ujwal and the progress he has made this year. He is a shining example of what it means to be a top Tiger. Congratulations. All right, moving on to Richardson. We have Lily Barrett. Oh, right there, hello. All right, Lily got some goodies. All right, Lily is an exceptional student. She works hard in her classes and always gives her best effort. She makes positive contributions to class discussions. She is a very deep thinker and often contributes very insightful things in her language arts class when reading difficult material. She is always able to find the deeper meaning in books and poems. We are proud to recognize Lily as our 4th grade top Tiger. Congratulations, Lily. All right, and our next student is Cameron Camiso. Oh, there we are. There's Cameron. Cameron? All right, Cameron is a stellar student. He works hard in all of his classes. He leads by quiet example. He is always doing the right thing. For the first grading period, he had a perfect BTP tracker and even earned a special reward from his homeroom teacher. Cameron works hard in all of his classes and does a great job participating. He is a very talented artist. We are proud to nominate Cameron as our 4th grade top Tiger. Congratulations. All right, our last school, elementary school, is Silver Lake, and I just want to make sure, we were told that neither student could come. This one will be here in January. I just want to make sure that they didn't show up.
No.
That would be Keith or Macy.
Macy's here.
Macy, you are here. Oh, they told me a fib, Macy. All right. Come on up, Macy Garlow. Did you drag your mom along? It says mom wasn't feeling well. Was she feeling all right today? All right, okay, just make sure. All right. Well, we're glad you're here. Macy Garlow. Macy is a kind young girl who is respectful to classroom teachers, classmates, as well as everyone she meets. She is one of the hardest working students in our class that will persevere no matter what. She is not afraid to raise her hand and say that she doesn't understand a new concept. Good. Her willingness to advocate for herself has resulted in more and more students willing to raise their hands when they find a time when they don't understand a new concept. We continue to hope that Macy will always advocate for what she needs. We assure our Black Tiger community that we will be hearing all about the amazing things Macy will be doing in the future. Congratulations. Glad you're here. Going to pause just a moment. So teachers and staff and those of you who are here to support our elementary students, why don't you just raise your hand? We appreciate you being here this evening, so thank you and a round of applause to them. All right, moving on. We're getting to the little bit of older students here. Bolick, our middle school. Our first student is Thomas Ashurst. Thomas. Thomas. All right. Thomas is a very motivated, hardworking, innovative student. He excels in the classroom and shows strong leadership qualities. He is a positive role model for his peers and brings thoughtful insight into class discussions. Thomas is the definition of Black Tiger pride, both in and out of the classroom. He is highly regarded by classmates and teachers alike. We look forward to seeing what he accomplishes in the future. Congratulations. So cute. He's got a lot to say, too. Yeah. All right. Our next student is Caitlin Ayers. Caitlin? Caitlin is a hardworking young lady who comes to class prepared, gets to work, and completes assignments to the best of her ability. Above and beyond being an exemplary student, Caitlin has a heart of gold and goes out of her way to include special needs students in as many activities as she can. She is definitely a shining example of one of the rising champions here at BOLC. We are honored to have her as a part of our crew. Crew is the name of your team at BOLC, is that right? Crew? All right, well, congratulations. All right, moving to Roberts. Our first student is Charles Bruger. Hi, Charles. Charles demonstrates outstanding dedication, positivity, and leadership in both academics and extracurricular activities. He always brings a creative viewpoint and sense of humor to class. I know what that translates to. Are you a little silly? Whether volunteering with his Scouts Troop 116 or helping classmates, Charles embodies kindness, respect, and the tenets of Black Tiger pride. In addition to Scouts, Charles plays tuba for the band and plays baseball for the CFABA, which is Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Baseball Association. Charles Bruger is a role model and leader to his peers and a deserving recipient of Top Tiger. Congratulations, Charles. Our next student is Vienna Cromer. Oh, there you are. Right in front. All right, the 8th grade team is delighted to nominate Vienna for Top Tiger. Vienna approaches every task with determination and focus. She consistently excels with creative and expressive tasks, so much so she is even taking an advanced high school art class. Wow. Vienna inspires fellow students by setting an example of hard work and compassion. Her perseverance and resilience, even when facing difficulties, sets a positive example for classmates and reflects a true dedication to personal growth. Vienna is truly deserving of this recognition of Top Tiger. Congratulations. All right, we have our high school students. I think 2 are here, maybe a third. We had a third maybe from last time. We'll see. All right. Pardon me? Jack Dahlman is here. Okay, Jack, yeah. Our first student is Jack Dahlman. Jack? Hi. All right, Jack has chosen to take AP Statistics. Wow, that's good. I don't know where to begin with that. As a sophomore, not only that, but as a sophomore, that's really impressive, truly. In class, Jack concentrates, participates, and works very hard on his schoolwork, thus becoming a positive influence to those around him. He is involved in many extracurricular activities and leadership groups at the high school. The math department hopes he continues taking as many advanced math classes as he can while here at Cuyahoga Falls and continues to serve as a leader for his peers. Congratulations, Jack. Our next student at the high school is Nathan Laney. Hi, Nathan. How are you? Good, thanks. All right. Nathan is a senior at Cuyahoga Falls High School who's participating in his 2nd year in the Cyber Academy STEM program as part of the 6th District Compact. During that time, he has completed an he likes that. Future STEM leader. Yeah, he's excited. During that time, he has completed an internship as part of his work-based learning. Nathan has a 3.372 grade point average while taking challenging high school courses and working diligently on a community project to earn his Boy Scouts Eagle rank. For the last 2 summers, yep, that makes Mrs. Schaefer happy. For the last 2 summers, Nathan worked as a student technician. In his spare time, he enjoys hiking, working on car models, and hanging out with his friends. After graduation, Nathan plans to begin an electrician apprenticeship. Well done, Nathan. Good for you. Is Maren here? I just want to make sure we're not missing. Okay, I think it says that she'll be here in the January meeting. All right, well, that concludes all of our students for this evening. Before we head over to take pictures, I just want to once again congratulate everyone. I want to thank our secondary staff who is here this evening, staff, principals. So if you could just raise your hand from the middle schools and high school. Yes, thank you for being here. And deservedly, are the adults that are here this evening. You clearly have done a great job raising your children and sending them to our schools every day. And we want to thank you for, we know, as those of us who are parents or raising children, it's not easy. So there's no manual that comes, right, and what decisions to make and how to problem solve with our children. But you clearly have done an amazing job, and it's such a delight to be able to read about each one of them here this evening. So thank you to all of you, and a round of applause for all of you. And with that, we will have you head over for your pictures. We're going to go straight across the hall. Thank you again.
That is so cute.
Really is.
They don't, some of them, like,
I assume they'll be offering you a settlement.
No, we don't. The teachers do in the building.
I don't have to fire Chris tonight.
I know, it's wonderful. Yeah, we don't, because we don't know them as well. It's our award. Yeah.
How many do I have?
Okay, we are back and we are ready for presentation number 4, CFHS Program of Studies, Mrs. Dudones, Mr. Smith, and we have Ms. Kershaw as well. Take it
Good
away,
evening.
folks.
Good evening, Board. Thank you for having us here, President Gomez and the rest of the Board. We are going to share with you our proposed changes to our program of studies for 2025-2026. At first, we are going to ask Ms. Shaw to share with you the amazing work that she has done. You may notice when you go into the program of studies this year, for the first time ever, you will see course codes to the right. So if you flip to any of the subject areas, you will see on the upper right, right across from the title, thank you, you will see the course codes. And Ms. Shaw has done more hours probably than we can count of work aligning these so that they make sense. So she's going to share her process, and you have a sample spreadsheet, which is what part of the bigger project that she was doing.
Right, so we had 1,194, give or take, active courses in the high school, in the student information system, that we could potentially roll over to the 25-26 school year. And we did a deep dive on those courses in the system, and we're going to eliminate or deactivate courses that haven't run in years, that we just keep rolling over, you know. It's like cleaning out a closet, as somebody explained to me. So we're cleaning the closet, and we're going to wind up with 740 active courses going forward. Now, in addition to just cleaning the closet, we also took a really hard look at the course numbers, the numbering system, and we're kind of realigning that in more of a horizontal pattern, which makes it much easier to maintain these courses going forward. Also, when the state decides they're going to change a subject code for a course, especially if it's a tested subject, it makes it much easier for us to guarantee that we're adjusting all those courses because of the new horizontal alignment, instead of trying to figure out where that is in the 1,194 courses that we were potentially running. So the first 2 pages of the example are sort of my worksheet, where I was just combing through these active courses. And the last 5 pages of the little document you got are the new alignment of the courses. Anything that's in red is advertised in the course selection guide. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And part of the work that Ms. Shaw has done, our team has worked, we've been meeting monthly with Mr. Smith and Ms. Colich and Ms. Hausman, and just talking about these changes and how things can be better aligned, and making sure that everything is reporting properly in EMIS, so that we're getting the credit for the hard work that is being done in the classroom. So we're excited to see the results of all of that. So, thank you. So in front of you, you have the changes and highlights, again, that we are proposing for your approval. So starting with, we have just 2 additions this year that we're proposing. English Composition 1 and 2, and some of you who have been around for a while might remember that we previously had a CCP English course at the high school, and the teacher that was teaching it left our building, and so we didn't have anyone else who was certified to teach it. Well, the state offered grants for teachers to become CCP credentialed, so we had 2 teachers take advantage, one of whom is Mrs. Lauren Ford, and so she will be done with that by August, and the university has assured us that she is going to be approved as an adjunct and ready to go for the fall. And so we would offer English Composition 1 in the fall and English Composition 2 in the spring. Those are 3 college credits each, and then they count as 1 unit in terms of like Carnegie units for their courses. So students could actually complete 2 units of English in 1 school year. And then the other addition that we're proposing is AP Pre-Calculus. This just began being offered by the College Board last school year, during 23-24, and this is an alternative we currently offer a CCP algebra for calculus and then a pre-calculus course. For students who don't want to do the CCP option and they prefer AP, this would be a good option for them. So that's what we're introducing there.
Okay. And then some of the changes in the next section there. So we're proposing that we flip the sequence with American history and world history. World history would become a freshman level course, and American history would become a sophomore level course. This was in some pretty good discussion, like Ms. Dodone said, with the EMIS group that we have, along with our social studies staff, where we feel that this curricular progression aligns better and it provides students an additional year before they have to take the OST for American history. What that will mean is that American history is not going to be offered in 2025, 2026, just because we're going to have that gap year. So we're going to be offering world history to freshmen and sophomores as we transition. And then should we need any options for students that are current high schoolers for American history, we will have a credit recovery option if needed. And then in the same department, we're looking at American government.
Sorry,
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
So it's not necessarily that world history helps feed the basis of American history. It's more so, or I could be wrong with that, but it's more so that it gives them an extra year. They don't have to take that test freshman year.
Yeah, that's part of it. And then as far as the progression goes, we're looking at going from world history to American history and then to American government. So we kind of feel that that is a good progression. Okay. Yep, absolutely. But then, like to your point, absolutely, as far as the test goes.
That makes sense to the sequencing.
Yep, exactly.
And
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And I like the fact too that American literature is 10th grade. So you could have some crossover
Sure.
there between American history and
Right.
English.
Yeah,
in,
absolutely.
You know, not next year, but the following year.
Right, absolutely.
It's an option.
Especially in the new building with all
Yes.
those
Yeah.
spaces for collaboration.
Exactly, that's true. That's
Exactly.
absolutely correct. So, and then, within that department in social studies, we are proposing that we make an American government into a full year. It's currently a half-year class, but American government, another tested subject, and talking with the staff in the social studies department, as well as, again, our teaching and learning staff, we feel and they feel that with the kind of restriction on the time, particularly in the spring semester where they lose 4 or 5 weeks due to the testing window, that there's just really not enough time for them to really dive into the curriculum. We think this would be a great opportunity to get further in and really, in a course that, you know, I mean, they're all important, but American government's incredibly important, where we can kind of dive in and really get those, dive in on those standards. So.
And it used to be a full year.
Yes,
Some of
yes,
these
it did.
When we get to science, I'm gonna make
It
that
did.
comment too.
Gotcha.
We're changing back to the ways things used to be.
Right. That's it.
The physical science thing too, we're changing
Yes.
back
We're
to
that
the way,
age now.
the way it was.
Right, exactly.
No, it's true.
Our proposal will
Back
be,
from olden times.
Yeah, really.
should the board approve this, then our proposal, we will then, Mrs. Houseman and I have talked about having some curriculum writing teams working over the summer to help get things aligned. There have also been some new additions from the state of things that are required to be covered. So we'll make sure that everything is plugged in there in the appropriate place.
And I think as local elected officials, we can appreciate the importance of understanding how your government works. So.
Definitely.
On all levels, so. But I have a question, it's probably more for Mrs. Hausman and Dr. Selko. Do we need to change our graduation policy now that that'll be a full year, or did we already account for that in our policy update? I can't recall.
I believe it will need to be adjusted.
Okay,
I don't believe it was.
I did not review it.
okay, cause we'll have to change that in our graduation and
Yeah.
look at how that, so I just wanna make sure that once we vote on this, then we'll have to look at that, because that'll be a full year course, so then when we look at, graduation requirements for high school, we'll have to look at how we, finagle that piece as well.
Right.
Yeah, just wanna not lose sight of that, cause yeah, as our counselors work on graduation plans and all that, I don't wanna
Right,
lose sight of that
absolutely.
piece.
Yeah. And then President Gomez, to your point earlier about science, the third point on there is we are proposing to add more sections of physical science, which currently is, we call Introduction to Chemistry and Physics, but we are renaming it to physical science, and we want to push that into the freshman year, which would then flip with biology. Biology would become a sophomore level class. Now, we,
Exactly, Ms.
Yep.
White, it's how it used to be.
exactly, yeah,
I
it's
know, I'm
actually,
sorry.
yep, changing it back, you're exactly right.
Isn't that the way of education?
That's the way it used to be.
Yep, it is.
Yeah, so And again, biology, honors biology would be available to freshmen as well, but we anticipate adding those additional physical science courses as we push that down. And then, sorry, I don't know if
Oh,
you're.
that's okay.
Okay.
Oh.
And then social studies, kind of flipping back there. The change there in number 4 is really more in line with the when essentially we'd be offering it. So you can see the courses there. We have current issues, Black History, and AP Government. We changed the grade levels at which the courses are being offered so that they are junior and senior 11th and 12th grade to allow for that kind of appropriate, bless you, maturity for the course topics and certainly the rigor that's in there. On top of the number of core requirements that freshmen and sophomores already have to take as it is. Then going.
It's appropriate too because as we're looking at some of the things that our state legislature is choosing to do, I think it's gonna proactively prepare us for some of the things that are coming out.
Sure.
Whether we like those things or not personally, it's just helping better prepare us for what's coming.
Right, absolutely. And then number 5 is, it's a slight change. What interior design, furnishings, and management will be replacing textile and interior design in our family and consumer sciences. The course kind of better matches the content that aligns with the web exams and the career tech standards that exist, so. The number 6 on there, Java programming and AP computer science. We split those into 2 separate courses due to the guidance from the Ohio Department of Higher Education. And you have there the states the kind of the requirements there, which I could certainly read through, but that is included there.
Those courses don't typically have as many students in them, and so we were trying to run them concurrently. But then because the language prohibits that, we just kind of disbanding that, and then if we have enough students, then we'll run one or the other, or both.
So separating those out. So number 7, the courses that we're proposing elimination of. So in English, we're looking at broadcasting 1 through 4. With the addition of the modern communications program, that is those courses we really have not run for since that program has been in existence. Cradle to grave, modern literature, and public speaking, again, as stated there, due to low or no enrollment in those courses.
Just on public speaking, we had very rigorous conversation about this at the agenda review meeting. And certainly we don't want to run classes that kids aren't taking because that's a waste of time and scheduling and all that. But just, I think as we reflected on what kids need to be successful in life, I think the skill of public speaking, to be able to present, like those are skills that we don't want to lose even as kids like aren't taking those classes. So I think for my part, and I think Mrs. Schaefer agreed because she was at agenda review, like we'll support that recommendation, of course, because we're not going to run a class that nobody's taking. But we talked with Mrs. Hausman about ways that maybe we can find ways to encourage to make sure that throughout curriculum in ways that are appropriate, we're encouraging presentation skills and other ways that make sure that our students are getting those opportunities to get up and to have to use those public speaking skills. Because I think it's a critical skill to be successful in life.
I think it's also part of the English standards. So really in every course, they should be not only formal speaking, but informal as well, because that is part of the standards of English language arts.
And to Mrs. White's point, there are language arts standards, but they're tied to science and social studies and other technical subjects. And so they are incorporated with that. And we have had those discussions with our science and social studies teachers especially, making sure that they're meeting all the standards and not just the area of expertise, which is sometimes a little bit tricky, but that's one benefit of having the TBT time that the board approved in the contracted agreement. I can't think of the right word. Bargaining. Collective bargaining agreement. There we go.
And that our educators agreed to as well.
Correct. Yes, correct.
Yeah. Okay, the next item on there, the family and consumer science. Principles of food, we are proposing to eliminate as that's offered at the middle school level. And child development, we are putting a note in there that it may return in the 2026-2027 year. And then, as stated earlier, the textile and interior design, we're looking at more of a change to that course, as stated in item number 5 there. And then item 7C, the industrial technology changes or proposed eliminations, advanced welding and fabricating, metals 1 and 2, upcycling from trash to treasure, as the new facility will not have space for welding.
I know. I feel bad about that too, because I think it's such fun to be able, I'd love to learn how to weld, but you know.
Sure.
I don't know.
State offers,
But
offers a
I know,
program.
but
Yeah.
it's not quite the same. I'm just sorry that we're losing that, but I understand.
Sure. Yeah, and we will make those efforts, you know, if students that are interested to make the connections with
Yes.
Stark State, because they do have a
Thank
good
you.
program, so.
And I wanted to add something too. I misread something, and I think I sent in a confusing, questioning email to you, Dr. Salico. When it said offered at the middle school, that's why I was confused. I thought this was being discontinued at the middle school, which was why I was very confused. Like, we didn't get a middle school course thing. I was like, so I thought this, okay, so that makes much more sense now. Thank you so much. I was very confused.
There's currently
Gotcha.
some repetition between, it's not.
That makes much more sense.
At the middle
to me.
school, it's not evaluated by a web exam, but they are covering the basics of that principles of food. So because of that, we can offer more opportunities to our students at the high school by just, okay, you can take this at the middle school and then you can move on at the high school level.
I have a question on welding, because this says if they're passionate about continuing welding, what if we have a student that would be passionate about going into welding? Would they have the opportunity to be connected to the program at Stark State? Okay, how?
So they have a career certification program in welding, and so, when Shelley McCombs was at Stark State, we worked with her a lot. We have not worked as closely with the new representative, although they come to the Alliance meeting sometimes. So that's something, if we have a student, my niece graduated from here, she left and became a welder. So,
Cool.
you know, if we have that, if we have that student who says, this is what I want to do, we'll definitely help them make those connections. And they can do it right from the Akron campus, which is nice because it's only a couple exits off the highway.
Well, I think the challenge will be just, making them aware of it, because they won't have that exposure now.
Sure.
So I think that's a challenge that we need to put forth as a board, is just making sure that we're still making students aware that those opportunities for welding exist now that the exposure won't be as obvious as we have it now with
Sure.
our program.
Yeah, absolutely. And then 7D on there, we're looking at, within the math department, just proposing the elimination of discrete math, probability and statistics, and trigonometry. Again, those are courses with low to no enrollment over the last few years.
I took trig.
I know.
Well, and
And trig is built into honors algebra
I
too.
know that.
Yeah, so that,
We
and
didn't
I
have
think a
that
lot of
back in my
students end
day.
up going that path. Yep, absolutely.
But it was
Algebra
always,
Algebra with trigonometry.
no, we had,
I took it
well, I don't want to take it,
separately.
but we had algebra 1, geometry, algebra 2, then you had trig and, something geometry, I forget what it was, but it was, so you took those, and I was not very good at trigonometry, I was okay, but the other one, I forget what it was, but something with geometry, and then we did not have calculus in my time, but, you know, that was a
I
while
didn't want
ago.
to take calculus, so I
That
took
was a
every
long
math class
time
that wasn't. So I took
yeah.
trigonometry.
No, I probably wouldn't have either, even if we did have it, but whatever.
On the back, the science and social studies, we aren't proposing any changes aside from the ones that we mentioned in terms of pacing, but we're not adding or getting rid of any classes. World languages, as you know, we're completing the phase out this year with the French 3 and 4 students, and then, as you're aware, we been in talks regarding the potential phase out of Latin 1 for next year, and then trying to determine what that would look like going forward. I know there have been several emails back and forth, so happy to answer questions about that. Mrs. Hausman obviously is happy to answer questions about that. For PE lifeguarding, we've offered it, students have signed up, and honestly, the natatorium has had a difficult time getting an instructor at the appropriate time for that, and because we won't be right across the street anymore, we decided it was an okay time to go ahead, because it also was only offered in the spring typically, but we just we don't have the staff to have someone teach it. No other changes in industrial arts besides the welding. We're not adding anything. Like our home repair and maintenance is a popular course that's taught by Mr. Geis and Mr. Gregory and Ms. Bloom at this time, so that would continue. And then in terms of our career tech, as you know, we did not put auto bays in the new building due to the exorbitant cost and the space that it requires.
Well,
And it
because
wasn't,
enrollment.
and it would, and it was, would have been considered an LFI. And so for the number of students, the cost did not match that. So we're working with the compact. I just had a compact meeting this morning, and Ms. Stankina was talking about, there's nothing solid yet, but we definitely still have the program at Hudson, and we're trying to figure out what we can make work for our students so they still have that opportunity. So questions for us regarding changes or anything else you saw in the program? Again, we try to catch the highlights on this sheet, just because it's a long document to read word for word, but we're happy to answer any questions.
Julie, if you cut, Mr. Jones, if you cut Latin for the students that are taking one now or two, for the honors diploma, how many years do they need of a?
Sure, that's a great
Thank
question.
you.
And I will actually be giving a short presentation about honors diplomas in just a moment, but.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I jumped.
it's perfectly timed. So students need 3 years of one language or 2 years of two languages. They do not have to be honors level courses. It can be just, which we don't even offer honors, Spanish, French, whatever, until level 3. And as I was looking at other districts in the area, that is true for other districts as well. I didn't find anyone who offered those honors at the younger grade level, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've asked that question as well, so
Yeah,
I've
I
asked
was
that we
worried.
find that. I don't think I'm the only board member that has that question,
No.
obviously. But I think that's one of our concerns, is the impact on our students and
Sure.
their graduation pathways, or their honors graduation pathways, if that's something we're seeking. We don't wanna be, I don't think as board members, we wanna make a decision that impacts a kid's ability to get an honors diploma.
Sure.
I think that would weigh very hard on each of us. So, I know that there is going to be, I think, reaching out to those students to see, and then looking at their graduation pathways and that. So, I think that's a piece of information we need. I don't know if there's other pieces that board members have asked about, but I know that's one piece that we've asked
Sure.
for before we would make that determination.
Sure.
And so for students who are who are doing Latin 2 this year, they could choose to take another world language. They could choose a CCP route, but I believe Mrs. Hassman shared, maybe, it seems like forever ago at this point, maybe 6 weeks ago. Only one program is being offered asynchronously at this time, so the students would have to go to campus, so we know that might be a hardship for some of our students. So they might choose to do 2 of another language. For the students who have done 3 years, they're good in terms of the honors diploma. So it would just be that small group of Latin 2 students. So we'll continue to work and research and move from there. Yep. Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Hutch, if you don't mind. So what you have in front of you goes along with our program of studies, which is referring to the graduation seals and the honors diplomas. And so it looks longer than what I'm going to talk through, so Dr. Selico, don't panic.
I know. I asked you to do this.
Yeah, I know. I meant don't
can't
panic at the
complain.
length. That's what I told Mr. Hutch. I said, I'm not reading through every slide, so don't
And
panic.
actually, if I could just real quickly say to the board, there was some conversation about graduation seals and a lot of honors diploma type questions, and I just felt since Mr. Jones and Mrs. Hausman were already going to be presenting, I said, would you mind talking about this for a few minutes? You have the resources in front of you, because it is very complicated, and they keep changing changing it up on us. So just a quick overview for you this evening, I thought would be appropriate time.
So the packet is the full presentation, and then I printed off some of the links just because I knew you didn't want to be clicking on links while I was talking. But you have heard before about the very many changes in graduation requirements. Leslie, I know you've heard them all as well. So in order for a student to graduate, they need to meet course requirements, demonstration of competency, and demonstration of readiness. There we go. DEW has a minimum of 20 credits. We have a minimum of 21 credits. And these are all the things that you were just discussed in our recent board policy change. And then the basic change that took place, which I know is reflected in our new board policy, is that financial literacy, starting with last year's freshman, is now a requirement. That's a half unit. And then that may be electives to be 5.5 units. So, again, something you're very familiar with. So in addition to the 21 credits that students need, they also need to demonstrate competency. So they can do this in several ways. One way is by either passing with a 700, the Algebra 1 and ELA 2 test, or they can earn competency with a 684. So 684 is not considered proficient, but it is considered competent. If a student does not pass Algebra or ELA 2 the first time they take it, we are required by ORC to provide remediation. We've been using Edmentum for that. Mr. Smith has done a lot of work this year in particular in assigning students to small groups with the teachers who have duties, and helping, those teachers have been helping guide the students through the practice for those tests, so that when they take it again, hopefully they'll get at least the 684. I can tell you last year, there was only one student who did any remediation who didn't get a 684 or higher. So it was really exciting when I was going through and checking all those out. If a student does not show that competency, then they can show career readiness, which I'll get into. They can take a College Credit Plus class, which I've described before is not the most reasonable option, because if a student isn't passing the Algebra or the ELA, they probably aren't doing as well as they need to on the ACT, or the placement test that they need to take, like for Stark State. So it's not impossible, but it's not the best option. They can enlist in the military, which not everybody wants to do. And again, they can do the ACT or SAT. And then the next page just kind of goes through all of those options. The career readiness, that requires a proficient on 3 or more web exams. The only students who take web exams are students who are in our career tech program. So that only applies to that small percentage of students. So that's also not a great option, which is why we are trying to get the remediation, and we've also been in talks to just improve our math sequencing and support overall, so that students will just get the scores that we want them to get and learn the standards that we want them to learn, and then less students will have to go an alternate pathway. That's also part of the teacher clarity work, is trying to define that.
So they can skip remediation and just enlist, so they don't have to get that?
They still have to take those tests twice, and to take it the second time, they should have done the remediation.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Okay.
Again, they can demonstrate through College Credit Plus, but to do that, it has to be a credit in a non-remedial math or English course for the subject area they didn't pass. So for example, some of our students taking our auto tech course are earning College Credit Plus through Stark State, but that doesn't count for this because it's not math or ELA related. They could do one or the other, so if they, really great at math, they could take the CCP, but maybe not a great test taker. They could take the CCP math course if they can get into the college under an alternate pathway. And then obviously military enlistment is pretty obvious. And then the ACT, I didn't put the numbers for SAT because we have less than 1% of students take the SAT annually. I'm happy to provide those if you have questions. But students would need a 22 in the math, or an 18 in the English and a 22 in the reading in order for that to count. So that's why we're working to improve things and get students where they need to go. Students also have to have a demonstration of readiness. These are the seals that are required by the state of Ohio. There are 12 different options. At least one of the 2 diploma seals has to be a state seal. And just as a reminder that this is for everybody. The seals are for everybody. This is not part of competency. Everyone who's graduating now has to have 2 seals, at least one of which must be the state. So I'm going to go through these pretty quickly, and you can stop me if you have questions, and then you do have the information there. Maybe if I can get this to work. So these are all 12 of the seals again, and the students do get these. They go on their transcripts and they go on their diplomas at the end of the year. That is part of Ohio Revised Code. The students are often disappointed because they're very tiny. And so first, I'm going to talk about the locally defined seals. We have the community service, student engagement, and fine and performing arts. These were all approved by the Board of Education about 4 years ago. For community service, students can complete 40 hours of community service by April 1st of their senior year. We ask them to do 10 hours a year incrementally, but if they don't do that, and they're getting their hours, of course, we allow that to count. We're not going to be sticklers on that sort of rule if they're getting the hours. But they do have to be verified on a district-provided form. That's actually in your board policy, so I'm sure you've seen that. And then if a student transfers in after freshman year, then we prorate that. So if they come in as a sophomore, we would only require 30 hours. The other option is for a student to create their own service project. So oftentimes, maybe like an Eagle Scout or someone like that might tie that into this so they don't have to do something else. The student engagement seal, students participate in and show commitment in 2 seasons of the same sport or 4 seasons of various sports with at least 80% verified participation. So our coaches are keeping track, all of our club advisors are keeping track. This has been a big undertaking. The high school's still trying to find the best way to do this. Another way is to participate in and show commitment, at least 80% participation in 2 years of school-approved clubs, and those can be any of the school clubs. They don't have to be academic related. And, or they can participate and show commitment in marching band, other extracurricular bands like jazz tones, gold tones, sorry. I'm mixing up my, or ensembles for at least 2 seasons with at least 80%.
Well, they have jazz, but.
No. Or, this still says M&Ms, I apologize. I know we've changed that name. Or other extracurricular choirs or vocal ensembles, or theater arts productions, or student leadership, such as student council, or again, they can come up with their own student proposed plan. So lots of ways for them to earn this seal if they want to do that. The fine and performing arts seal is the other one that the state has said we need to allow, and we are using grades for this and participation for 2 years in a curricular, instrumental, or vocal music course with an A or B for each year, or 2 courses beyond exploration of art. You may recall that we offer exploration of art to our 8th graders as an acceleration, but other students might take it as freshmen or even sophomores, and then because all art courses are semesters except for AP, then they would just take 2 more and earn an A or B. And the last option there is the 2 courses beyond the intro to acting with a grade of an A or B. Then we have the state seal. So the state seal of biliteracy is one of them. We have yet to give the state seal of biliteracy, but this year I have 2 students who are interested. Students have to show proficiency in English language arts, so it would be on that ELA 2 test, and they have to take a test such as through the ACTFL, which is the American Council of Teachers of Foreign Languages. One of the tests is called the APPL, the AAPPL. And so we've been investigating that. We have a couple students that were recommended by Mrs. Samuel, and she thinks that they have the Spanish knowledge. And as you recall, you just adopted new Spanish materials starting for this year, and we worked really closely with the Department of Education and Workforce. We're hopeful that more students, after a few years of this new curriculum, will then be prepared to be able to get this. Also, American Sign Language can count for the seal by literacy. The test, I have heard, is extremely hard, but they can, and so that's something that we're looking forward to in the future. The citizenship seal, students have to use American history and American government for this. So it can be proficient or higher on both of those end of course assessments, a 2 or higher on the AP related assessments, or a B or higher in a College Credit Plus course. Again, they must be aligned to American history and American government. State College Ready Seal, which is the same way that they would show competency. So if a student earned this seal, they would also be able to show competency. Those are the same scores. The industry recognized credential seal. So this is where a student would earn a 12-point industry recognized credential. For most of our students, that would be through our career tech program. However, we started last year, Mr. Smith, offering Rise Up, which is a credentialing program in retail. And so we have enrolled probably over the last 2 years, probably at least 100 students, maybe a little bit more, in this program so that they can earn this credential. And then, because part of it is it has to be 12 points in a single career field, or a state-issued license. So for example, in cosmetology, students who earn that then would earn this industry-recognized credential. Military enlistment seal, they have to provide evidence that they actually enlisted in an armed service, or participate in a ROTC program, which we don't offer here. So that would only be maybe if they came from, like Kent Roosevelt offers a JROTC. Provide evidence that they were accepted to enter the Reserve Officer Training Corps or appointment into a U.S. Military Service Academy. So for our students, the most likely option would be actual enlistment. And we have typically a handful of students each year in our senior class who are enlisted. That's, you know, something that they want to do. So the Ohio Means Jobs Readiness Seal. Students demonstrate proficiency in each of 14 identified professional skills. So these are things like communication, showing up on time, you know, so promptness, you know, all sorts of things. They have to have at least 3 mentors. They have to get all sorts of paperwork filled out, and part of the paperwork has to be, you know, verifying, yes, this student actually showed up at my place of business. Yes, they did these things, they demonstrated these things. And then there have to be at least 2 of these 3 environments: school, work, and community. So a great place that we have been able to allow students to earn this is with our agriculture program, because students can come, they can volunteer, they can do the work. Mr. Newland or Mr. McIntosh can sign off, and that's one of their, they count as one of their mentors and that sort of thing. So we have had a few students that has really helped them get that seal, since the state seal is, since at least one state seal is required. Science seal is very similar to the citizenship seal, except it's related to science, obviously. Students can earn a B in an advanced science course, which is anything above biology, basically. So chemistry, physics, any of our AP courses, that sort of thing. If they earn proficient or higher on the biology test, a 2 or higher on the AP biology, or a B or higher in an approved College Credit Plus course. The state technology seal, same AP requirements, same class grade requirements. And then when I will share this presentation with you, or ask Mrs. Hausman to share it in Friday notes, we have gone through, we spent a lot of time with the counselors, and Mr. Smith and I have gone through and looked at every single course that we're offering to see, could this apply for this technology class? So a lot of our, like, for example, the home maintenance or the courses, the manufacturing courses that Mr. Gregory is teaching. And we also have worked with our 6th District Compact colleagues, and any student who is taking a career technical education course is automatically earning this technology seal, because it meets part of the guidelines set forth by the Department of Education. Oh, I apologize, I'll have to fix that. Should say Education and Workforce. And then the honors diploma I saved for last, because I know we had questions about that. So there are 6 different honors diplomas, and you have a sheet that looks like this. I have put them on slides, but I do want to share with you first that last year the state revised the honors diploma requirements. They had a task force that met, parents, students, other stakeholders, trying to make the honors diploma requirements more equitable, so that if you were earning the art seal, you were doing just about as much work as if you were earning the STEM seal and that sort of thing. So this started with any student in the class of 2023, but students this year and last year were able to use the old or the new honors diplomas. As I mentioned, things that are the same: equal number of requirements. There are additional state and local something seals aligning to the specific honors diplomas, additional requirements for the courses beyond the standard graduation requirements. And then the big things are these 2 at the bottom: the student strength replacement or experiential learning option. It has been for years and years, ever since I started this position, that students have to meet all but one criteria of the honors diploma requirements. So they could, whichever one didn't work for them, they could say, okay, I didn't get a 27 on my ACT, I'm not counting my ACT. Now, the state has added this replacement with the student strength demonstration. So on this page, this is exactly what you see on the screen, it's just this is smaller. So the parts in blue are the things that can be replaced with a student strength demonstration. So as you look across, I crossed out the IB because we don't offer international baccalaureate here, but you can see very similar math requirements. Here we have additional unit of advanced science, but in the career tech, they're using web exams instead. One additional unit of social studies, 3 are required, so that would be a 4th year social studies, but in career tech, they have 4 units of career tech courses. Keeping in mind that units are typically 1 semester, in terms of that. Here's our world language requirements. These can be replaced with a student strength demonstration. Having a 3.5 can be replaced, or the 27 on the ACT can be replaced with a student strength demonstration. Earning 2 additional diploma seals. So keeping in mind that students have to earn 2, so they can earn 4, but it can't count, the honors diploma seal can't count as one of the seals, which makes sense. It'd be nice if you could cheat the system that way, but. And then in the career tech, they need to meet the requirements for that industry recognized credential seal or the technology seal, which again, all of our students do if they're in career tech. And then meeting the requirements of one of the experiential learning options, which we'll go over in just a moment. And then you can see it's, just so similar going through with the STEM honors diploma, the arts, the social science, and civic engagement. So when you're looking at those experiential learning options, those things can come with these things that we have under the student strength demonstration. So to replace either the ACT or the GPA requirement or the world language requirement, students can do any of these things. They can earn 12 credits through the College Credit Plus program, which many of our students do. Some of them graduate with 40 or more college credits. Advanced placement, they can earn a 3 on 3 advanced placement course tests. They can earn articulated college credits or C-tags. Those are only available through our career tech courses that are aligned. There's a lot of paperwork that has to go on with the compact in the state. And basically what those say is, if I'm going to college in this field, I automatically have credit for these courses. I don't have to retake them. So my daughter did the theater program at Talmadge. If she went to a, I saw that. If she went to, if there were C-tags aligned with that, then when she went to college, she could have not had to take like intro to acting or the basic ones because that would be covered. Not all of our courses have C-tags in our career tech program, but we do have a list and our counselors are aware of what works. Apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship are an option. We've had a really hard time, our counselors have been working to try and find apprenticeship opportunities, but having in this Ohio State Apprenticeship Council apprenticeships are a little trickier. It's not your typical just work-based learning or internship. So any of those could replace those in the blue. The work keys, so work keys are, it's a series of 3 tests that students take, but it's not just students, adults take them too sometimes for jobs out in the field, different manufacturing or other organization. There's a math one, there's an English one, and there's like a reading documents because you don't want somebody making your coffee if they can't read the instructions for how much coffee to put in there and what to do when the coffee starts exploding out of the machine. We want them to be able to read the documents to go back in and fix that. The ASVAB, so currently, each year I would say we have between 20 and 30 students who take the ASVAB, which is that aptitude test to join the military. So they would need to earn a score of 50 or above, and then the work-based learning. So you have the next page in front of you that has red. That goes through all of the workplace learning requirements. Oops, sorry. And basically, it has to take place at a work site, but schools can count. So that's why our agriculture program can count. They have to be co-supervised by an instructor or an employee or educational representative. So it could be a counselor in conjunction. So we have Mrs. Nicholson working this year as a liaison between our Jobs for Ohio Graduates program and our School Links program. And then agreement built on professional, academic, technical competencies. So in other words, there's a set of the skills that we want the students to have learned by the time they left. And you can look at some examples on the back or some learning descriptions. I'm not going to take your time to read that to you. And then the other option, instead of the student strength demonstration, this is the experiential learning. And so that's the last paper that I gave you, which talks about field experiences, and it gives you some examples of what students can do. But basically, they put an agreement in place. There needs to be an adult school coordinator. So like I said, for this year, if somebody wanted to do this, that would be Mrs. Nicholson. Very clearly defined goals, student responsibilities. Basically, they're just trying to make sure you don't have your neighbor sign something is really what that comes down to. And if you look on the back of that page, it's supposed to align with the student's career aspirations. And as we know about internships or other types of experiences, sometimes you learn that you love what you try, and sometimes you think, oh no. I mean, I had colleagues in college who got to student teaching and went, oh, this is not for me. And then that was 4 years in. This is getting them a little taste in college, or in high school, so that if they choose to go to college or choose to go to career right after graduation, then it gives them that idea. If they do the field experience, they also have to do a portfolio. So it's a lot of work, but if a student's really interested in trying to learn something, it's a good option. The Ohio Means Jobs Readiness Seal we already talked about, and we already talked about work-based learning. So, questions? Nope. Okay, as I said, I'll have Mrs. Hosman share the presentation, so if you want to click on any of those other links, and then you can let her know if you have questions. I'm happy to answer them. Thank you for having us tonight.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Well, that was a lot.
Yeah, it was.
That was a lot of info.
Thank you.
That was good.
Takes us to
It
item
was.
E, Treasurer
Refreshes.
CFO's business consent agenda. Ms. Stoikoi.
Yeah, I'd like to recommend that the Board of Education approve all items listed in the treasurer's consent agenda.
So moved.
Discussion.
Just some normal stuff. We have our meeting minutes from last time, and then our donations. Again, a number of donations, as you can see, on there. I'm not gonna go through them all, but we got some familiar names, on here. Mr. Brigatti, Dr. Selico, Ms. Stewart.
Mr. Johnson.
So we thank you and everyone else listed there for your contributions, donations.
Very much so. Please call the roll.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye. Item F, Treasurer CFO's business, Ms. Stoikoi.
Thank you. I'd like to recommend the Board of Education approve the November 2024 investment schedule and monthly spending report.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, we will start off looking at the interest, just as an update. We rebounded a little bit this month, from October, so that's good. But as we've talked, and as you'll see here when we look at the next, document, this is the point of the year where our balances are kind of at their lowest. This in June, usually, because we are not receiving a lot of revenue in these months as we do earlier in those 6-month periods from tax revenue, so that we will not be seeing, months like September all too often anymore, just because of that and because of the construction funds. We are making multi-million-dollar payments every month, so those account balances are also going down. And as I mentioned in my forecast, those rates are starting to come down as well. Let's look at food service really quick, because I just want to point something out, because it appears like we are, that we're down to under $200,000. Part of that is a timing issue. We received one of the payments for, I believe it would have been October, on like December 2nd or December 3rd for about $150,000, or $180,000. And then we received November's as well, so we have like kind of a double payment from the state in the month of December, so you should see that back to kind of normal at that time.
I have a question about food service because with that information, it looks like they're holding stable, but we received information that we might need to consider raising meal prices. And so is that tied to the cash balance, or would there be something else driving that?
Yeah, it is tied to the cash balance. It is also tied to the cost for product over the last few, is just increasingly gone up compared to what it used to be when those prices were originally set. So that is a big factor in it because they're, you know, as you saw, what we saw with the construction and everything else, and you see when you go to the grocery store, things have just kind of skyrocketed and kind of held there so far. So, which plays into that cash balance. So, yes, that cash balance is kind of the bottom line for that. But you know, those are some main contributors. There is the cost of you know, doing business in a sense.
I'll just say, I know that meals are a sensitive topic for our board, so I'd anticipate that as that comes up, we'll have more questions about it. Correct, board? Yes, so, just figured since we were talking about food service balances, could ask about that.
And then
And give you a heads up, Dr. Sess. I knew you'd appreciate that as well.
And then finally, the general fund, as I mentioned last month, this is, you know, we did that double payment in October, so really we're kind of gonna be off a little until June, where we, you know, don't have a payment that month, and then we'll kind of even back out. So, you know, this is lower by at least $1 million, because that's about what our payment is to the consortium each month, is a little over $1 million for health insurance costs. So, keep that in mind, looking at these balances. You know, you'll see it again in December is very similar month to November as far as revenue and expenditures, and then come January/February, usually more towards February is where we'll start to see, you know, more revenue and pick back up there.
I had a question about athletics. I'm certainly not looking at the comparisons because I know how we are accounting for things differently, but in cash on hand, is there any cause for concern with such a low balance?
Not really. They do a lot of stuff ahead of time, like in the beginning of the year, and obviously the majority of our sports have already come and gone, and so they tend to get those kind of purchase orders and expenses out ahead of time, so we don't have as much as we do kind of front loaded towards the rest of the year. We still have a couple months of ticket sales from basketball, and some other things that will help with this, but we keep our eye on it. I mean, just the cost of officials is also, that's another thing that's you know, gotten kind of wild as well, and just the lack of people that are, you know, they're being paid more in order to you know, attract people to come and do it. God bless them, but because I would not. But we will keep our eye on that, especially as we kind of transition from winter to spring, where we're not going to be bringing in that revenue per se at that point.
Thank you.
And you know, our fees will be lower with the new league than what they are now, which will be a plus for us.
That's great.
So,
Only it is currently $8 for an adult.
I'm saying the fees that our
Yes.
athletic program has to pay out to
Yes.
the league will be less with
Yes.
the new league.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to the, also the
Okay.
consumer, they're on the other end, the ticket prices
Right,
for that
yes.
too. So keeping that in mind as well, like that should probably offset itself a little bit, cause we won't have as much revenue. On the flip side, there's also, they also charge for middle school.
Right.
Which we, do not currently, so, that, all of that should kind of offset itself, when that happens. But
Any other questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Hi.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
And your comments?
I really don't have anything. I just hope everyone has a good holiday or break if you're having time off, and enjoy, stay warm. It's too soon for all this. For me, I don't mind the snow as much this month, but like, it doesn't need to be 28 degrees in November. So
You're right.
I'm, a little salty about that.
Is this your yearly Christmas card?
It is.
I will be saving this until later this evening when I get home, so I can curl up and read it. So I'll look forward to it every year.
That's it.
Thank you. Item G, Superintendent CEO's Business Consent Agenda, Dr. Selica.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. I'd like to recommend that the Board of Education approve all items listed in the superintendent's consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Thank you. We have several items here this evening for your consideration. Regarding staff, those are, most of them routine items. Coaches, we now will have all our spots filled. We have event workers on there. We have our Project Lead the Way training. We have some unpaid leaves of absence. And then most notably, we have some retirements, of which I would like to just point out, we are losing a number of great teachers, and as you know, they've changed the retirement years. I'm not sure if that had any impact, but nonetheless, I'd like to point out Rich Blevins is a PE teacher at Roberts. Jennifer Gull is an intervention specialist at Richardson. Nancy Hall is a speech-language pathologist at Preston and Price. Roseanne Kostoff is a second grade teacher at Price. Joan Pinkerton is a fifth grade teacher at DeWitt. And Cindy Probanik is a second grade teacher at Preston, and she was here earlier this evening. I always want to say probiotic when I say her name, so I have to remember not to say that. But really want to wish all of them well, and congratulations. I know they still have a half a year to go, but thank them for their years of service.
Can I just say, this is, any retirement is a loss to our district, but this list is really a hard, and I know, cause it's the December list to get those extra benefits contractually, but this is a hard list to stomach. These are this is a list of every single one of these people is a fantastic educator that absolutely deserves their retirement, but these are really, really phenomenal educators that have made a huge impact on our district, every single one of these people, so. And as Dr. Salgo said, they got half a year left, but when their time comes, they deserve it to retire, but each of them will be sorely, sorely missed. They've made a significant impact on our district, and they just deserve that recognition. And we will miss Sandy Erb as well. She's been a huge support to the Board of Education as well.
Okay, we have a rental agreement for the fellowship program it's already at Preston, and now they are expanding to DeWitt. We have the rental agreement for the Camp Invention. Once again, that was at DeWitt, and they had a pretty decent turnout, and Mrs. Scala was very pleased with the program itself. There's an overnight field trip for girls wrestling. The Western Reserve Hospital is just an amendment, adding the Medicaid language for the PTs. And Wings of Change, we have a student that will be attending there. And then the North Central, we have two contracts there, one for Dr. Drust, who is working on the EMIS and value added, and we think this will be our last contract needing his services, but he certainly has been very helpful in a great deal of work in those departments. And then Dr. Wilfong, who, as you know, you've heard nothing but great things about Dr. Wilfong and her work with ELA and writing and all of those things. And then, let's see, the last one is the ESC proposal, and I'm trying to see my notes if I could read it. This one is for the science. They're going to be adopting a 6 through 12. They'll be doing an adoption there, and so they've asked for the assistance of this person, and we just did an up to amount. And we are hopeful we won't get to that amount, but we just wanted to make sure to make sure that we had enough money allotted for that contract.
I'd just like to note for the science adoption, this is the first one that we're circling back to. So as Ms. White and I remember, we adopted science curriculum in 2018. And this is the first time that we're staying true to our commitment was part of that emergency levy and circling back around. So we're not just replacing books that are 20 plus years old. We're replacing books that are 6 years old on the actual replacement cycle that they should be on. And this is a really great and exciting day for our district to be on an appropriate curriculum adoption cycle. And so thank you to our community for continuing to approve that emergency levy that gives us these funds, and to our educators and staff that do the work to do these adoptions. This is really something to be proud of for our district. It was decades in the making. It's really something to celebrate.
That's great.
It is. Some of the textbooks I had when I first started were 30-some years old. Yeah.
It's the first,
English, it's, stories, but still.
it's the first time we're doing curriculum adoption. It's not the books that I used when I was a student.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's, So it's something really, we should really be proud of. Right?
I agree.
Any further comments, questions? Please call the roll.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Thank you. Item H, Superintendent CO's comments.
Thank you. Just to give you some updates on events, which you probably are familiar with, this is the busy week. Lots of concerts and different things happening around the district in regards to the holidays, so been making our rounds. We'll continue to do so, as well as tomorrow, and Saturday morning, we will be here for the Ben Curtis gifts to give to families. I believe 60 families that we'll be handing out gifts to at Preston Elementary, so looking forward to doing that. And I also want to thank, once again, the team, Christine, as well as Holly, and then all of the social workers in the Student Services Department for really assisting with making holidays special for a lot of our families. And I'm really proud of the work that we've done, and happy that we're able to do that, and just the number of folks that have taken an interest in our district and our students and have made generous donations, organizations that have adopted us, and appreciative of that. And with that, we do have, if you're able to attend or would like to, you're invited to come next Wednesday from 6 to 8. It'll be in the library where we'll do our family dinner. And Ms. Coco and Ms. Schaefer, are you guys in for face painting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. There we go. That week, good, because I had you listed in there for that activity.
We'll be honing our skills.
All right. As long as I'm not doing it, you're all in good shape. So we'll have the bell choir again, dinner, a visit from Santa, and I think we have an ornament craft that the children will do, and
Are
the
we
face
doing
painting.
the photos again?
We are with Santa.
That's really,
This time it'll be with
that's really
Santa.
something special. The families
Yes.
loved that last year.
They did. So we're looking forward to that. And then, and Soup's Troops, we did our drop-in shop last week, and the students had a lot of fun. They really enjoyed it. Always the little ones and the big ones, and so much so that the kids were asking if we were gonna do it again next year already. So I said,
I know.
okay,
It
well.
was the first time I had to miss it.
Yeah, it was
so
fun.
sad.
It was the usual fun. And let's see, we met today for our naming rights meeting. We're making some really good progress there. I want to announce this now in case people are listening or any interest in spreading the word. We will have that meeting the event on January 23rd at 6:30, and we are going to actually attempt to hold it at the new building itself. And we will have refreshments and presentation, and we're going to try for a small scale tour of the sites that people can consider for naming rights. And the flip book that Christine is putting together is really impressive. Mrs. Schaefer was there today and got to see it. So we're still putting some final touches on it, but we walked through that today and making some good progress there. And lastly, I was just been around doing some classroom observations. I was in 4 classrooms today, sitting and learning and listening, and so that was enjoyable. I was in a kindergarten classroom. That's always fun. And just to echo Christy's words too, happy holidays to everyone. Enjoy the time of the year. I love the holiday season, but we also know it's very busy and tiring. So but wish you all well. thank you, that's it.
Thank you, Dr. Salka. Okay, brings us to item I, board business. Number 1 is President Pro Tempore. It's recommended that the Board of Education elects blank as President Pro Tempore to preside over the organizational meeting to be held on Wednesday, January 8th, 2025 until a president is elected. Do we have a nomination? Nominate me.
I nominate Mr.
Okay,
Oh,
thank
okay, I'm sorry, okay. I wasn't sure.
you. Any other nominations? Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Thank you. Item 2 is application for classroom facilities assistance program. It's recommended the Board of Education approves the application for the classroom facilities assistance program, CFAP.
So moved.
Second.
So this warrants some discussion, and it ties in with the second one. So do you want to take it away, Dr. Salka?
Yeah, essentially, you have been through this process before, maybe some of you that were on the board, I was not here for this initially, but what we've learned is that if we want to get a jump on the elementary buildings, the second phase for a bond issue, we learned that the money will not be available for 7 to 10 years, which caused a little bit of alarm for me, and so we were on a meeting with the members from the OFCC, the new representatives, and they suggested that we apply for both the CFAP and the ELP to get in, to at least put our names in the queue is the best way I can say it. And that way, we don't have to act on anything right now. It's just to say that we had to enter a date a couple years out now that we would put, at the earliest, go on the bond issue, and we put, was it 26? Yeah, November of 26, and that's just, again, to put a placeholder in there, but we certainly will have further discussion on when that timing of that would be, but we need to get this in soon to get in line. There's 17 or 18 districts before us.
So putting that placeholder in there with a date of November 26th, we're not held to that date.
No.
We can stay in our queue in that line, even if we move it out.
Yes.
Or,
The only thing we can't do is go before that November 26th. You can't put anything on the an issue on before that, and we know we won't, which is why we put it there, just to give us some, a little bit of play there.
And I think, if we're being honest with our community, we're not going to be on the ballot in November of
Yeah.
26
Right.
either.
No.
So we want to be clear about that. We want to be
Yeah.
very clear with our community. We're not going to be on the ballot for a bond issue in November of 26, and I think picking that is also intentional because we want you to know that we're not going to be on the ballot for a bond issue in November of 26. And if we picked a later year, more so in the future in that 7 to 10 year range, we couldn't make that promise because we don't know if we get farther into the future. So we wanted to pick a date where we could say confidently, we had to pick a date to get in line, and we know we won't be on the ballot in November of 2026 asking you for a new bond.
Right.
Because one, we won't be ready. Two, our community's not ready. Three, as we've discussed often at board meeting, we have to shore up our cash reserves as well. So there's just a lot of other things that need to take precedent. And four, we'd have to come up with a pre-bond program and do that whole process. So there's a lot of work that we as a board and a community as a whole would have to do to get to a place where we could put a phase 2, which would be elementary schools, on the ballot. But I think what we're trying to say is that it could happen in 7 to 10 years, and we might not be the people sitting here in 7 to 10 years, and we want to position our school district in the best ways that we can, because we know that eventually our community was gonna get new elementary schools, and darn it, our kids deserve it.
They do. They do.
Anything further? think sometimes our community gets confused because we've tried as a board to make a lot of decisions to position the district for when we aren't the people on the board. And I think that's hard sometimes for people to understand. I don't mean that as a criticism, but I don't think, public bodies always do that as a whole. I don't think they always think about when they're not the people there and to try to set people up for success in the future. And I think we have tried really hard to do that. And so I think people will probably see this, and there's probably gonna be chatter in the community, soon that's gonna say that we're gonna be on the ballot in November
That we're building new
2026
schools.
because this
There
is
we
what it
go.
says. So we're gonna do the best we can to communicate well that that's not true, but,
It's a placeholder.
and then if it takes off too far, then we'll be working with Ms. Stewart to communicate that well to our community. So we'll see what happens. And so call the roll, please.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Thank you. Number 3 is a resolution for the expedited local partnership program. It's recommended the Board of Education approves the resolution for the expedited local partnership program.
So moved.
Second?
Similar. Yeah, it's just a different means. So as a reminder, one of the means, avenues is to, get the money as you go, which is what we're doing. We're getting the money from the state, and the other is to, front the money as the district and, get reimbursed. And they talked about 2 installments, but then they said something, one or 2 installments, which is obviously not the desired way in which we would want to go. But again, it just gives us options for down the road.
Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye. Number 4, policy manual adoption. It's recommended the Board of Education adopts the following resolution to adopt the policy manual.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Number 5, policy first read, section D, fiscal management, DAB, general revenue fund cash balance, section E, support services, EACD, drug testing for district personnel required to hold commercial driver's license, EACD-R, drug testing for district personnel required to hold commercial driver's license, section D, personnel, GCPA-2, reduction in professional staff workforce, section I, instruction, IGAE, health education, and section D, new DEIB policy. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out before our next meeting. Or we can have discussion now if anyone needs to. Number 6, board meeting dates for 2025. Ms. Coco? Because we'll vote on them at our next meeting. Are there any changes or updates, or are we all good to go?
Yeah, we are good to go.
Good to go? Okay.
Yes.
We'll ask Mr. Jones to send those out again. Number 7, future agenda items. Any additional future agenda items? Just remind Ms. Coco, we have to do our formative assessments of the superintendent and treasurer in the January, February area. That's all I have. Anything else, board? Okay, number 8, committee reports. 612 construction core team, Ms. White.
Yes. Oh, no, we meet tomorrow on the core team. I'm sorry. I was thinking my other one, but yeah. We will be meeting tomorrow at 2.
Board policy, you got our report. There's a couple other policies we're working on. I would just note, the governor signed the bathroom ban policy. As you know, we have a very, what we believe is the right policy for our students here. We will have to change that policy in our district. That does not have to change until February 25th. And it's the view of policy committee that it should not change until February 25th because it doesn't have to. We are working with administrators and counselors to discreetly identify effective students and see what ways we can work to lessen the burden on them. Because as in all our decisions, our focus is on minimizing the impact on our students. So that's one policy that we are working on. There's additional legislation the legislature is considering that may impact that policy as well, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. But that's one policy we had a lot of very good conversation about, but we're holding that policy because it doesn't have to change right now. And as a board and as a policy committee, we didn't feel that we should change it until we have to change it. So February 25th is the date for that. So, and we're working on that in the best ways possible to minimize the harm for our students. So we just wanted to give that update to the board. Business Alliance Council?
Yes, we met yesterday morning. It's a good meeting. Dr. Selico gave kind of a strategic plan update to the group, mentioned, some of the results from our stakeholder groups that we had involved, those focus groups. She talked a little bit about the success of the Black Tiger Family Center. She did spend some time, you all wouldn't be surprised by this, trying to give folks, let them know where it was directionally in the city. And she was very off on that, so she was corrected. Shared it a little bit, and we had a lot of folks there in the room that were, that helped us get that off the ground, so she gave them a shout out as well. And then there was a fantastic, the video of the 612 campus, kind of the before and after going through. Christine Stewart put together a fantastic video just walking through the building. Really helped identify and answer some of the questions that we've been getting from folks, but it's a beautiful video, and it just really, from start to finish, we've just been doing some really good work there. Mr. Smith gave a quick update on the career fair, I think, that we're going to be having, and then it was also shared by Mary Jane with the Compact that there is a tech showcase January 17th at Kent State from 4:30 to 6 p.m. Where there will be I think 29 of the programs. You can see those in action there that day. And then I had to leave after an hour and 10 minutes, so Dr. Selico, if there was anything else that developed after I left, you can fill us in on that. I know we did.
We went into our strategic plan for the Alliance, and we determined that we're going to focus on elementary and internships. We're going to have a speaker. Ms. Palmisano will come and speak to the group in January, and then those are the two things that we're going to hone in on this year.
Perfect.
That was really it.
Thank you.
Mr. Harris, was that the career tech, the one that is usually at Kent State?
The
Career tech, okay.
I think so.
Kent State is January.
January 7th.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I have gone to that a couple times, and it is worthwhile to go.
I was, yeah.
Yeah.
29 programs too. That's just seeing everything in action.
And the students are really, they're excited to tell you about
Right.
their program. They're very well spoken.
Good event.
Good event.
Did Wellness Committee meet?
No.
Okay. Foundation met last night. I was unable to attend, but I did let them know, and I've let Ms. Coco know that I'm not going to take that one on next year. I've done it for 5 years, and I just had a lot of schedule conflicts this year. I just didn't think it was fair to them or to the board to keep doing that one with so many schedule conflicts, because I just wasn't able to really liaise as well as I should have been. So I let them know that. But I did give them a report from the board. They're working on the scholarship packet, which will launch shortly. They always try to get that out before Christmas break in case any student wants to work on that during Christmas break or winter break. So that will launch shortly there, and then close in February usually. So if you know of any senior students here in the falls, definitely encourage them to keep an eye out for that. It's all online now. We've really done a good job of streamlining that. Okay.
Mr. Gomez, will it be is it part of the organizational meetings where we can discuss in kind of assigned committees? Because I know you're not continuing that one. And I actually had discussion with Mr. Harris about the Business Alliance. I know that since a year is a long time and everyone's schedules have changed and.
You make the assignments as
Okay.
president.
Okay, I.
And it's at
was
the
just-
organizational meeting.
I thought that's when it was. Thank you
They're
very much.
presidential appointments.
I will work on those appointments. Thank
So
you.
if you want people to, reach out to you and let them know what they're interested in, or let us know how you want us to do
Yes,
that.
I will reach out.
Okay.
We'll
Okay.
discuss.
Perfect.
Legislative liaison, Mr. Harris?
Oh, yeah, I got a couple updates. So the General Assembly's in their lame duck session. We're going to see a lot of stuff, as Mr. Gomez mentioned, a lot of stuff coming through here last minute. He had mentioned the bathroom bill that was signed by Governor DeWine. That one, I'm going to go too much into detail on that. He talked a little bit about that. House Bill 8, which was passed by the House back in 2023, that is now going through the Senate. If you remember, originally this bill allowed parents to opt out of sexuality content in schools. Now it would also require schools to report any changes in student identity, such as being LGBTQ+. Now what's happening are senators are also considering, again in a lame duck session, adding unrelated amendments from other bills. One, for example, including requiring public schools to allow students to leave class for religious instruction, among other things. So we're seeing a lot of last minute pieces, education-related policy, with other things being attached to it. The House also passed House Bill 206, which would allow districts to create a policy to expel students that pose an imminent and severe danger to the safety of others, other students and school staff for 180 days and possibly longer. This also allows districts to authorize their superintendents to create conditions for these expelled students to be reinstated, including an assessment by a psychiatrist, a licensed psychologist, or a licensed school psychologist. So, and again, they define imminent severe danger as possessing a gun or a knife, something that can cause bodily harm, making bomb threats, and articulating a threat. For example, not just by voice, but manifesto, a hit list, etc., stuff like that. So a lot of stuff coming out of the General Assembly. I will keep you all posted. I know, Dr. Selleck, I do appreciate what you put in your reports when you do get those. But yeah, if anything major comes out, I'll keep you all posted on that. So.
And I think they passed a fix, the Senate Bill 29, they passed a fix to that.
Did
So
they?
I'm sure we'll get more
Yep.
information from Mr. Hutch at some point on that. I'm sure he's looking forward to that piece. And I think they passed it as an emergency.
It's immediate,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So that was a good thing. Student Achievement Liaison, Ms. White?
Yes, we met, and began by looking at data and then standards with teacher clarity and then high yield strategies and success criteria. And so we had 3 of the schools go through what they have done so far, and it was really interesting, especially the elementary. DeWitt, they're using teacher clarity to more of a team approach instead of silo, each teacher separately. So they're working in a team approach and getting to know wit and wisdom and what those end assessments will look like, high yield strategies, and the reading and writing standards. And their assessment would be like writing a narrative. And they're also kind of thinking of vertical alignment and so on. So they actually showed us some examples of the students writing. And I was sitting with a couple of English teachers, and we were like, oh, yay, yay, because anything that we can do to help the kids write, it is a critical way to think. It helps you think. It's just such a good tool to have. So starting it early is really good. At Bullock Middle School, they also analyzed the data, adjusted the curriculum to what is tested. So instead of just teaching, they're really looking at their curriculum and how it fits with the standards and those high frequency standards. They reviewed their mapping and pacing guides, and again, assessments, and explored standards using teacher clarity. And then at the, this year, what they're doing is a schedule adjustment. They're, focusing more on daily TBTs, which is teacher building teams, I think.
Teacher-based
Is-
teams?
there- Okay, and then the PLCs, and they're more trying to focus more on students' needs, whether that's academics or whatever, to provide intervention and enrichment for them. They also are using a little bit of AI for feedback and testing, I think, and then the reading assessment, vocabulary, they do have word walls, they're using the FRAIR model, and this is going on across curriculum, which made us very happy as well. English teachers are like, yay, all right. And then they're looking at using rubrics to assess different classes, and then best strategies. At the high school, they're reviewing past data, they're prioritizing standards, what I would call power standards, which, kind of the same thing. They're having honest conversations with each other, what has worked, what hasn't, and they're also doing weekly TBTs and more professional development on the OGT and the readiness, OST, and so on. They're looking at using personalized data and student conferencing to look at the end of, and to look at writing samples through AI grade aligned with the state rubrics, which is pretty good, I believe, and the vertical alignment as well for 9 and 10. And they also wanted to do student conferencing and showing examples and mentoring as well, the questioning. They're doing explicit teacher modeling, which is good. So with vocabulary, and some of the high yield strategies are cold reads and questions, model testing skills, and of course honors. They're using New York Times graphs for students to analyze, and then holding TBTs accountable. So I found it very enlightening, and I really think we're on the right track. We're getting that writing going across the curriculum, and using and looking at the standards to know what we actually need to teach, and prioritizing some of the standards as well. So, yeah, I think we're really hitting some of those goals and strategies. So I'm very happy with that.
Thank you, Ms. White. Brings us to number 9, comments. Ms. Coco.
Yes, I don't have a lot this evening. It's been a while since we met, and I believe that I was able to attend Frankenstein after our last meeting. And I just didn't want to fail to bring up what an amazing production that was, and those students did such an awesome job. I mean, with the material and the heaviness of some of it, and, the gas, there was quite a bit of death in that play. But it was so well done, and these students, I mean, the acting ability of these students was just off the charts. So I just wanted to say congratulations to that entire cast and production, and of course our staff and students both that worked on that. I was at the Bullock and Roberts combined band concert for middle school last night. There are 120 sixth graders
Whoa.
in band this year.
Yeah, that's good news.
That is great news,
Yes.
Mr. Harris is excited.
but
Yes.
I cannot even imagine what it has taken in 3 months to get 120 students to go from not playing an instrument to being able to play songs
An instrument.
3 months
Reading
ago. So,
music.
Right, to read.
I mean,
and
they were all
amazing.
great, of course, 7th
Amazing.
graders, 8th graders, they did a great job across the board. But just to see that many 6th graders, it was really exciting for the future of our band, but also, as a mother that has had 4 6th graders in my past, I was like, oh wow, I can't even imagine. So, yes, kudos to them for what they're doing. But they absolutely did a great job. Looking forward to the events coming up the rest of this week and next week, and then I hope everyone has a good holiday and has time just to rest, spend time with family, reflect, and whether holidays are hard for some people, they're happy for others, and may we all find ways to be people's hope in this season. They don't have.
Mr. Harris?
Yes. Just congratulations to our top Tigers again, and to our staff member we recognize this evening. I'm looking forward to reading tomorrow at BOLIC for the Reading is Fundamental Books for Ownership program. I'm excited to do that. I had to write that down. Reading is Fundamental Books for Ownership program, so I am very much looking forward to that tomorrow. And then I'm going to do my best to try to get to some of the other things we have going on as well. But really just happy holidays, everybody. To reiterate what Ms. Coco said, just have a safe and restful holiday break, and I will see you all on the other side.
Thank you. Mrs. Schaefer?
I believe I'm reading at Roberts tomorrow. Now I'm gonna have to double check to see if it's Bullock or Roberts.
It could be Roberts. I'm reading
Before I
theirs,
park in that parking lot, I have to check. I believe I'm reading at Roberts tomorrow.
That's so much fun.
I know, tis the season to have to check your calendar in the morning before you know where you're supposed to be in the afternoon.
I'm like, is it? Mine's not till Monday at Bullock, so
Mine's
I was getting a little scared there.
I
Is it
know,
tomorrow?
I know, I was too, I'm thinking mine's next week.
Unfortunately, I did miss the band concert
I went.
and I missed Sleigh Ride.
I know, it's so good.
Hopefully it's on YouTube. Is it on YouTube
I don't-
already?
I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna have to check.
Oh,
The
let's-
tradition, that's one of my favorites.
It is,
It is
yeah.
the best. The vocal music is in the auditorium right now, the high school.
Yeah.
The Vespers is Saturday at First United Methodist Church. I think it's at 7 o'clock. I'm not 100% sure. That's a beautiful concert as well.
Always is.
I feel like I'm forgetting something, but
It's the season.
tis the season. Have a great holiday season, and hopefully I will collect my brain over the.
We need rest.
And get a couple hours of sleep.
Ms. White?
Yes, I attended the high school band concert last night, and it was excellent. So I was able to attend with my husband, so that made him happy to get out and going. And we, of course, watched our grandson play, so that was exciting. And as always, gold tones are my favorite,
Yeah.
but, you know, symphonic. And you do see the progression from what Miss Coco, from 6 all the way up. It's just amazing. So the kudos to the band directors. I don't know how they do it, but they do, and the students as well. So that's all I really have. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everybody.
Thank you. I did not go see Frankenstein because I don't handle gore well, and I heard that it was a little gory, and I don't handle that well personally. So I heard it was phenomenal, but it's just I got a warning about it, so I didn't go see it. But I heard our students did great, and Mrs. Mahalov is a
She's
phenomenal
awesome.
director. So I will go see the one
Yes, I
acts in
helped hire
January,
her, yeah.
which I hear are already they're already practicing for. But instead, on the last Friday they performed, I went over to Lincoln, and they had their winter event the PTA put on with arts and crafts, and then they had a holiday shop. It's the first time they've had that there, and the families just had so much fun. I jumped in and helped out, and it was just, the kids were just so delightful buying things. And then the adults asking, were you supposed to buy something for yourself? To the kids, because it wasn't really what it was for, but it was very cute. And then the next 2 nights, tomorrow I'm gonna make it over to Price for their holiday shop, and they do a tree lighting. And then on Friday, I hope to make it over to DeWitt for their holiday event as well. And then I went to the city tree lighting, which is always just a phenomenal event. I know I saw Mrs. Schaefer there. I don't know if others made it as well. And I got to take my picture with Stripes in his winter gear as well. So thank you to Mrs. Stewart for coordinating to have Stripes there. And I had a few people actually mention to me that they saw the tiger there. So it was well received. Thank you for your work in making that happen. And I just wanted to, it's my last meeting as president after 3 years, and I just want to thank my colleagues for the honor of getting to lead you and to serve in this role of this district. It's been a great honor and a privilege. It's time to pass the gavel in January. But in January, I said, but it's I just love this school district, and getting to lead it as president has been a great honor, and it's been a great privilege, and it's something that's personally meant a lot to me, so thank you for this honor. And so item J is adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Did you read that?
Please call the roll.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
It's 8:15, we are adjourned.
All righty. Oh, goodness.